Tom Sawyer's Gang. We went tiptoeing along a path amongst the trees back towards the end of the widow's garden, stooping down so the branches wouldn't scrape our heads. When we were passing the kitchen, I fell over a root and made a noise. Miss Watson's big servant, named Jim, was sitting in the kitchen door. We could see him pretty clear because there was a light behind him. He got up and stretched his neck out about a minute, listening. Then he said, "Who's that?" He listened some more. Then he came tiptoeing down and stood right between us. We could have touched him nearly. Pretty soon, Jim said, "Say, who are you? What are you? I'm sure I heard something. Well, I knows what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit down here and listen till I hear it again." So he sat down on the ground between me and Tom. He leaned his back up against a tree and stretched a leg out till it almost touched one of mine. My nose began to itch. It itched till the tears came into my eyes, but I dared not scratch. Then it began to itch on the inside. Next, I got to itching underneath. I didn't know how I was going to sit still. I was itching in 11 places now. I reckoned I couldn't stand it more than a minute longer, but I set my teeth hard and got ready to try. Just then, Jim began to breathe heavy. Next, he began to snore. Tom made a sign to me, kind of a little noise with his mouth, and we went creeping away on our hands and knees. We cut along the path around the garden fence, and by reached the steep top of the hill on the other side of the house. Tom said he slipped Jim's hat off his head and hung it on a limb right over him, and Jim stirred a little, but he didn't wake. Well, when Tom and I got to the edge of the hilltop, we looked away down into the village and could see 3 or 4 lights twinkling, where there were sick folks maybe, and the stars over us were sparkling ever so fine. And down by the village was the river, a whole mile broad, and awful still and grand. We went down the hill and found Joe Harper and Ben Rogers and 2 or 3 more of the boys and hid in the old tan yard. Then we unhitched a skiff and pulled down the river to the big scar on the hillside and went ashore. We went to a clump of bushes, and Tom made everybody swear to keep the secret, and then showed them a hole in the hill, right in the thickest part of the bushes. Then we lit the candles and crawled in on our hands and knees. We went about 200 yards and then the cave opened up. Tom said, "Now we'll start this band of robbers and call it Tom Sawyer's Gang. Everybody that wants to join has got to take an oath and write his name in blood." Everybody was willing, so Tom got out a sheet of paper that he had written the oath on and read it. It swore every boy to stick to the band and never tell any of the secrets. We decided that we would be a band of highwaymen. Ben Rogers said he couldn't get out much, only Sundays. They agreed to get together and fix a day as soon as they could, and then we elected Tom Sawyer first captain and Joe Harper second captain of the gang. And so we started for home. My new clothes were all greased up and clayey, and I was dog-tired.